conflicts that kept Desi on the road with his band by allowing them to work together at last. Now they had triumphed beyond their wildest expectations and seemed to have everything. His name escapes me at the moment, Ball deadpanned, but this guy, who seems to be in all places at once, making like an actor, a banker, a politician, in short, a producer, gets my vote as the greatest producer of all time, and I have two little Arnazes at home to prove it. At this she cast a sexy, heavy-lidded, sidelong glance at her husband. The studio audience burst into supportive laughter, and Arnaz wiped his forehead with his pocket square. "Desi, I love you," she said. Signed, Lucy. Arnaz rose last, with an earnest intensity not at all like his character, Ricky Ricardo's so often exasperated mien. "Thank you, sweetheart," he began. "Thank you, Ed. You know, if it wouldn't have been for Lucy, I would have stopped trying a long time ago because I was always the guy that didn't fit." He recounted his uphill battle to get the show on the air with himself as the co-star. Finally, one executive at CBS said, well, maybe the audience would buy him because, after all, they have been married. Struggling to compose himself, his shoulders hunched, looking into the middle distance and not at the camera, barely holding back tears, he went on, "We came to this country and we didn't have a cent in our pockets. From cleaning canary cages to this night here in New York is a long ways. And I don't think there's any other country in the world that could give you that opportunity. I want to say thank you. Thank you, America. Thank you." Arnaz sat down with his head in his hands. Sullivan, a keen judge of talent, who had known Desi for years and understood better than most the crucial role he'd played in his wife's success, cuffed him around the ear and drew him close in a fatherly embrace. The gratitude that Desi Arnaz expressed that night was mutual, for against all the odds, white-bread conformist Eisenhower-era America had taken him and his unconventional alter ego to heart. He was adored as the man who loved Lucy, the combustible Cuban bandleader whose spluttering Spanish and long-suffering straight man's frustration at the comic antics of his crazy wife softened into a loving embrace at the end of each episode. But Desi Arnaz was so much more than Ricky Ricardo. If Ball's brilliant clowning, her beauty, her mimicry, her flexible face, and fearless skill at physical comedy was the artistic spark that animated I Love Lucy, Arnaz's pioneering show business acumen was the essential driving force behind it. He was, as NPR's Planet Money once put it, the man who invented television. There's a misconception that Desi wasn't all that important to the show, Madeline Pugh Davis, the founding co-writer of I Love Lucy, would recall years after his death. And Desi was what made the show go. And he also knew that she was the tremendous talent, he knew that, but he was the driving force, and he was the one who held it together. People don't seem to realize that. Today, nearly 4 decades after his death, Arnaz the performer remains a widely recognizable figure, one of the great personalities of all time, as his friend the dancer Ann Miller once put it. Much less well understood is the seminal role he played in the nascent years of television, helping to transform its production methods and transforming himself, a successful but second-tier Latin bandleader, and his wife, a journeyman actress in mostly forgettable B-movies, into cultural icons. It was Arnaz and I Love Lucy's head writer and producer Jess Oppenheimer who assembled the world-class team of Hollywood technicians who figured out how to light and film the show in front of a live studio audience, with 3 cameras in sync at once, a then path-breaking method that soon became an industry standard for situation comedies that endures to this day. It was his ability to preserve those episodes on crystalline black-and-white 35mm film stock that led to the invention of the rerun, and later to the syndication of long-running series to secondary markets. This innovation also made it possible for the center of network television production to move from New York to Los Angeles, and created the business model that lasted unchallenged for the better part of 7 decades until the streaming era established a competing paradigm. I Love Lucy was a crucial part of entertainment in this country, said Norman Lear, the creator of the landmark situation comedy All in the Family and many other shows. Lucy and Desi, I think it can be said they pretty much opened the door of Hollywood to America and to the situation comedy. There was only one Lucy and one Desi, and between them they knew what it took. He was a great businessman in the persona of a wonderful entertainer. It was Arnaz's unself-conscious portrayal of the paterfamilias of an ethnically mixed family that proved a vivid contrast to the all-WASP lineup of contemporary sitcoms like Father Knows Best and Leave It to Beaver, and made him a breakthrough cultural figure in a country that would soon be transformed by growing social justice activism and
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.